an American businessman, Silicon Valley innovator,
the entrepreneur, philanthropist.
He's the chairman and CEO of DocuSign.
Is Under-Secretary of State for Economic Growth, Energy and the Environment, Keith Krach.
Keith Krach.
Keith J. Krach.
Keith Krach.
I'm a former global CEO, entrepreneur, and engineer myself. I know all too well how challenging and rewarding it can be to build a business from scratch and take it to escape velocity.
You talk about ownership, and I think that's a word that probably connects to a lot of our viewers. But, you know, they'd also be thinking, how do I do that? Like, how did you have the confidence, the ownership to say, you know, I'm ready to go pitch to the board?
Yeah. You know, I think it comes down to I built a high-performance team as we were getting going, right? And that's the most important job of any CEO. And I really believe that the organization, the company, with the best people wins. And the key is how do you get them working together as a team, right? You know, the way I believe in that is you've got to have a North Star, a noble cause. You also need an enemy. Because, you know, that stops the water cooler talk. Nothing gets the blood stirred. You know, in the United States State Department, we call it an adversary, but in business, we call it an enemy. And then the third thing you need is you need a plan. And with all these companies that I had the good fortune to build for these different organizations, we would always have a playbook. And that's basically the vision, the mission, the values, the team rules, long-term goals, strategy, all boiled down to execution. So it really was a way to maintain alignment and a tremendous tool when it comes to scaling. What I found, one of the things that works is you can't be afraid to be vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable with somebody, about 95% of the time, they'll reciprocate in kind. And when both sides are vulnerable, that forms a connection. And that is a way that I found all the time. Or also another one is, tell me your story. Everybody loves to tell their story. And I'm just naturally a curious person, so I love hearing. So that never bored me. So it's really the power of one-on-one relationship. And, you know, one of the things my dad always said is the key is when the world hands you a sack of sour lemons, the objective of the game is to turn it into sweet lemonade. Your vision, and our vision at Ariba was really simple. We said we want to build a great sustaining company into the 21st century because we had just sold Raza, and we actually kind of wanted to keep it going. They just made us an offer we couldn't refuse. We owed that to the shareholders.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, and then the mission is all about leadership because the object of the game, particularly in Silicon Valley, is to be the category king. Because when you're the category king, you get 80% of the industry resources and 80% of market cap. Players 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they can fight over the scrap. So our mission was to create a category called business-to-business electronic commerce and to be the leader. And then the next thing under that is your values. So, right, integrity's there, courage, high ambition, accountability, respect, the basics. And then we had a set of team rules that kind of personify those values. And by the way, same team rules for all the companies. The first one is direct, open, and honest communication. In a word, the truth. Because I had seen at General Motors, when you go through 15 levels, you know, I started at the lowest of the low, production floor, to the highest of the high, where I was a staff for the board of directors. I could see how that message would change, right? The second one is no idea is a bad idea. And then we added parentheses, unless CEOs. So, because it's all about making a safe environment.
Sure.
And you can make the safe environment when you mock out the CEO. Plus it's fun. The third one is always raise the standard in everything we do. And our people, our processes, and our products. And if somebody can't keep up with that standard, you got to do something about it. Otherwise, you automatically lower your standard. And the fourth one is we're a team first and functional specialist sector. So you developers put your feet in the customer's shoes. You sales guys don't make commitments we can't keep. And then the fifth one is the most powerful one of all. And that is hire the best people, especially if they're better than us. And I'll tell you an inflection point in Ariba. You know, every Friday up until we probably got to be about 100 people, we'd go around the room at what we call the round table. Anybody could say anything they want on their mind. Ariba, we had 7 founders, right? And so this one guy stands up, our VP of marketing, one of the founders, Bobby Lynn, and he goes, you know, this opportunity is way bigger than I ever imagined. Ariba's going to be way more successful than even I can dream of. And he goes, citing team rule number 5. I think we ought to go out and hire a real world-class VP of marketing who's done it before, and I'll focus on partners. And you could just see jaws dropping. And the guy who came after him, I'll never forget his name was Guy Haskins. He was about 24 years old. He just goes, Bobby, I just came from a software company. It is going to go bankrupt any day now. But if one guy would have had the courage to say what you just said right now, we could have taken it to the moon. So from that point on, it became noble to hire the best people, especially better than us. You know, I've had the good fortune of living the American dream. And I feel really, really, really blessed. And so I think that was one of the things my parents, you know, obviously my drive comes from my upbringing. And it's about paying it forward and giving it back. And so if you look at the things, whether it's what I did in higher education, in the business world, public service, it's all about that next generation. You know, one of the things that I started before I went out into the government was called the Global Mentor Network, and it's all about mentoring tomorrow's transformation leaders at scale. So, you know, we created all these videos of these really famous transformation leaders. And so, if you ask me, okay, so what would be your big legacy you want to leave behind? I think back of what my dad would always say about father. He goes, you never know if you're a good father until you see your children's children. So I would say, you know, it's all about my mentees. You never know if you're a good leader until you see your mentees, because you're teaching how to cascade that down. I've had some great mentors in my life. You know, there's a genealogy out here in Silicon Valley because this stuff's not written in a book, right? So you learn from the previous guy. My mom would always say the best way to learn is OPE, other people's experience. She would always say the best way to learn is from your mistakes. She goes, learn from other people's mistakes. You have time enough to make your own, right?